Now, what did studying engineering teach you that for all the years that you've been in marketing, marketing can never teach you?
I think systems thinking, and what I mean by that is, this idea that like marketing is a very fluid art, science, whichever way I should call it. But engineering teaches you this idea of systems, building systems out of everything. And so if you come into Echo House, even though we are one big organization, it's small systems. A lot of, like, I have this thought of growing big by remaining small. So that means that we have, instead of one big giant, we have little multi-systems in there. We have different departments that function, coming together to become one big organization. So engineering has taught me systems. I think that's, and I use that at every turn. Yeah.
Now, what was the pivot from engineering to culture, a rebellion? Was it like trying to rebel against the whole system of trying to put you in a box to be an engineer?
No.
Or was something that you realized that, okay, over time, this is you?
Yeah, it's something I realized, so the maybe I would say 70% realization and 30% rebellion, in the sense that I think that I'm just not somebody who conforms very easily. I don't scream about it, or I don't look like the typical,
So it's cautious aggression.
Yes,
Okay.
So I realized that at every point, like when I finished high school, everybody's thought was, you have to go and do medicine. I'm like, no, I'm not. And it's not because there's something wrong with it. It's just not my thing, And so, I mean, when I finished school, I remember my mom, my mom and dad, at the time, Ghana had just found oil. Mm-hmm. And there was this, they put me in an oil and gas school. I went for a few lectures and I'm like, no, this isn't. So my mom never understood that, like, why you're not screaming, but you're not also going with what we have said, So that's sort of been my route. Yeah.
At what moment, looking at the business from the early stages, at what moment did you realize that, okay, this is actually not a hassle?
It's serious.
Like,
business.
Okay, this has to be serious business. When did that moment happen?
So we had started to do our own events, and then I had come across a Kenyan agency. That's how come I even found out that there's something called like agency business. I learned from there and everything. But we sat, at the point when we were going to do an event, we would send proposals out to brands, and then they would give us some money. And then we had sent a proposal out to one of the beverage brands, and this agency was like, no, why are you asking them for just this small money? And they sat down with us and did an actual budget. And then when I looked at it, I'm like, there's no way that somebody would give us that kind of money, for something that we had priced at maybe 100 times less.
Okay.
We sent it to the brand and then they approved it. And I'm like, okay, this is serious. This is something we have to take seriously. So that's for me was the point when I realized that this could be something proper.